Students, it's Dr. Stovall, and I wanted to give you a quick overview of week 3. This week, you're going to be studying my absolute favorite part of rhetoric, Aristotelian logic, ethos, pathos, and logos. My absolute favorite thing to discuss. Okay, so we're going to start slow. I guess kind of slow because tomorrow's a holiday. So a lot of you will be barbecuing, meeting with family, just really having a good old time. But when you have some time, please take some time to read the portions that I have on ethos, pathos, and logos. It will go a long way for this week. Okay, great. So the first thing, as I stated before, will be just getting through the reading on ethos, pathos, and logos. And so I really need you to take notes. In addition to that, I initially wanted to make Essay 1 due on Friday. But because there is a holiday, I thought it best to make Essay 1 due on Sunday instead of making it due on Friday. Yay! So, with that in mind, those of you who need to meet with me or would like to talk to me in Zoom, I will make appointments in Zoom for Thursday between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. If you want to meet with me, send me an email. I have time for maybe 15-minute appointments. I don't really have that many people who will, take advantage of those. But if you're interested in doing that, by all means, send me an email and first come, first serve. I'm also available to answer your questions via email. So send those. I do have some resources that you can utilize that you may not even need to speak to me in Zoom. All right, so let's look at what I have for you this week. All right, so Essay 1, as I stated, is going to be due on Thursday before 11:59. And then I have 2 assignments that's due on Thursday, and your reading response will be due on Friday. So the first reading assignment is going to be just getting an understanding of Aristotelian logic, okay? And the first one is just an overview of ethos, pathos, and logos. Okay, and there is a little video for you to read or watch, okay? Well, I guess you can read it because it is closed caption. All right, so here is some information on ethos, and as you will see, ethos deals with logic that's based on credibility. This is that point of view or sense of persuasion, logic-wise, in terms of credibility, and this is how you create an argument where you're using credibility to persuade. Okay? All right. Let's look at pathos. Now, pathos would be, now some of you can hear my dog in the background snoring because it's late. Pathos is the point of view where you're using emotion to persuade. Okay, so these are those persuasive arguments that are based on emotion. Okay, so I want you to take notes as you're reading. Really get an understanding of how these logical, persuasive arguments are composed. And you really want to be able to identify when you have an argument that is using ethos, pathos, and finally, here we go, logos. Okay, and now we're looking at things in terms of laws and ethics and logic. Okay, all right, and watch the videos because that will help you immensely. Now what I did, I went through and tried to show you this particular argument in color. I think it will help because I have it in 2 different colors. Let me know if it works. Okay, all right, so after you've read, listened, watched, taken notes, if you still have questions, send me an email. We can talk about it. All right, so your first assignment, okay, I have the directions here, And what I've done here, because I've had quite a few people who have asked questions about what do I do? What do I do? So if you are going straight to the assignment without doing the reading prior, go back to the reading, then go to the assignment. If you still have questions, contact me. But you want to do that before it is due, okay? Because anytime after 5, you may not be able to reach me. So definitely try to email me early in the day, and definitely before Friday. Or in this case, before Wednesday. All right, let's move on. All right, so now we're looking at 4.1. And, I think the way this textbook is composed gives students the sense of it's not as important as other things, and so they don't necessarily take notes like they should, or you're printing it out. Whichever method you're using, if you don't understand the content that's written here, it's not helping you. Okay? So you want to be able to explain this information to someone who walks into the room and asks you, what are you doing? Okay? All right, let's move on to the next. Check if the meaning is clear. Okay? Once again, you want to read this section, take your time, read it, give yourself a moment, take notes, go back and look at it again, and you got to ask yourself questions. And then go back and look at it. Make sure you understand it. You want to look at the diagrams. See that you understand what the diagrams are trying to tell you or trying to illustrate. Okay? And then from there, we're going to move to the exercise. And guess what? Boom, here it is. And as you can see, this is a discussion. And so in this discussion, for this assignment, you will need to follow the directions as stated. I encourage you to cut and paste your answers into Word. Okay, so in other words, you're going to do this in Microsoft Word and then cut and paste it from Word into your submission box. I prefer you to do that because I have done this the hard way, where I typed it in the submission box and I lost it. And so to keep you from having to go through that frustrating experience, put it in Word, and then when it's completely done, then cut and paste it, then you're good. All right. So what is it that you need to do? So in a few sentences, and once again, this is after you have read 4.1 and 4.2, taken notes, you understand those sections, then what you're going to do is give your opinion on an issue related to current events: deportation of illegal immigrants, firing of multiple immigration judges, or the U.S. purchasing the Gaza Strip as the next Riviera. And I know some of these stories are a little old. Nevertheless, they should be easy for you to Google. Okay? Then I want you to make a short argument with a claim and at least one reason about that claim. Okay? Then post your argument, claim, and reason in the discussion box. Label each so your peers will recognize which content is the argument, which is the claim, and which is the reason. No AI, please. No citations and no direct quotations. So this is literally you reading something, getting an idea of what the issue is, creating your own argument, your own claim about the argument, and then a reason for that claim. Okay? If there ever was a time in which I'm asking you to state your opinion, okay, in third person point of view, this is the time for you to do that. Then I would like for you to read 2 of your peers' arguments and write down at least 1 clarifying question for each. Can you imagine a way in which two readers could get different ideas about what they mean based on what they wrote? Is there a term they are using that could mean more than one thing? And then after they have composed the clarifying question, or you have composed the clarifying question, please compose 2 counter arguments for each question. Okay? So you're asking a clarifying question for 2 peers, and then you're asking 2 counter arguments. So that's 3 sentences for each person. Clarifying question and 2 counter arguments. Okay? And then I've given you some examples of how to do that. Okay? It's not as difficult as it may sound, but it does require you to kind of do some thinking before you start writing. Okay. Next, look for exceptions. Once again, read and annotate. Now we're going to move to decide how strong the evidence is. Once again, you're evaluating, and I want you to keep in mind ethos, pathos, and logos as you're looking at this, okay? How strong is the evidence? Who is this evidence for? Why is it persuasive? Who would it be persuasive to? Okay, now deciding how strong the evidence is. Once again, this, my friends, is a Microsoft Word submission. So you're going to read this article, and then you're going to make a list of pieces of evidence from this argument and decide whether each piece is a fact, statistic, testimony, or anecdote. And you might say right now, well, how would I do that? You got to go back to that section and it'll tell you how. Okay, so look at your notes and it's going to give you that information. And then ultimately, you're going to determine if it is a credible source given for each. Okay, so that's a little more deeper in terms of you looking at the arguments. So now we're really getting into Aristotelian logic. Okay, so this is where the rubber hits the road. This is real critical thinking. All right. Also, now I need you to make sure you have your assignment ID, your full name, my name, class ID, the due date, the correct due date. You should have your header, which is a 1/2 inch from the right-hand side of the paper. And your title for this week is going to be week 3, and then deciding how strong the evidence is. And then you're going to do what you're asked to do. In this case, let's see, did I ask how many do you need? I think, if you have about 5, that should be fine, okay? I think that you should be safe with 5, okay? 5 pieces of evidence, that should be sufficient. Okay, all right, and here we are. So this is telling you how I'm going to grade your submission. All right, excellent. Let's move on. Okay, and this is your reading response for this week. No quiz this week. Why? Because you have this wonderful thing to work on, essay number 1. So for you this week, guess what? I have your essay development. Intro paragraph, body paragraph, and concluding paragraph. I also provided for you the format for MLA format. I've also provided for you how to check your Insight citations and anything else you need, the Purdue IELTS. And once again, if you have any questions, please email me. Let me know. I would be more than happy to help you with essay number 1. Have a wonderful 3rd week, you guys. Thank you.